hey, if you work with groups but get a little bit concerned when standing in front of a large group, or perhaps you even get stage fright standing in front of a large group, or perhaps you're just looking for some tips and strategies about how to manage a large group of people, well, you're in the right place. Stick around all the way through to the end of this video because I promise you will walk away with 3, 4, 5, 6 different strategies that are simple and easy and that will make you look great in front of a large group. Full disclosure. First of all, I love working with large groups, but I will tell you that many, many years ago, the sight of standing in front of a very large group of people terrified me to my core. But over the course of many, many experiences, I developed a set of really simple and very easy strategies that helps me manage the extraordinary sheer energy that a large group brings, which is one of the reasons I love now working with large groups, because they bring the energy. However, the same is also true that that same number of people can amplify your failure if you don't do the right things. So over the course of the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you what those strategies are that helps me, but also you, look great in front of a large group. Number 1, start as soon as possible. That is, you may not even need to wait for the whole group to arrive because, to be honest, will you really know that everyone is here anyway? So long as you've got a number of people that will generate enough energy, you can get started. Now, if you happen to be familiar with the concept of the unofficial start, check it out in the notes below. But it's basically any strategy that you can use that will engage a group early. And one of the most important things when working with a large group is to be proactive about generating and directing the energy of the group you're standing before. So that unofficial start, starting as soon as possible to engage people, is really, really important. Now, depending on the purpose of your gathering, what you're doing right up front doesn't even necessarily have to relate directly to that purpose. It's great if it does, but it's simply engaging people because you and I both know people do not enjoy waiting, especially if they're having to dedicate really valuable time in your program. Strategy number 2, partners. This is absolutely my go-to strategy anytime I'm facing a very large group, whether they're seated in a large auditorium or they're in a classroom or a training environment or just in the outdoors. It does not matter. That anything you can do that invites one person to go find another person to form pairs or 2 people will be your best friend. Because no matter how big that group is, everyone can always go find themselves one other person. Now, as a later strategy, you will note that I'll talk about finding a random partner, but just the strategy of finding one other person just sort of channels the energy of whatever you're about to do to one other person. So if you had 100 people, you've now got 50 pairs. Now, a quick note, you might be saying, oh, but what if I've got an odd number of people? No trouble. Sometimes the activities that you could use lend themselves well to doing groups of 3 people. That's okay. But even better is if you can also join. So if you need to be with that one person who's left over because they're the odd number, then now you get to play as well. And that can be a really powerful strategy for any group you're working with because it says, well, if I can do it, then so can everybody else. So use partners as one of your most optimized strategies for managing a large group. The number 3 strategy is to be heard. You've got to be heard, especially if you're in the outdoors. But if you happen to be indoors and you're on a stage, be sure that you can be heard by the people in the back. Now, whether you're using AV equipment and a microphone or you're very good at projecting your voice, it's just really important that you can be heard because that will be the first sign of disengagement. If the group that you're working with realizes they can't hear what you're saying and you don't seem to care, then it's going to be uphill all the way for the rest of that program because they will have checked out. So be sure that you can be heard. Even little strategies like I often ask, all take a step in. Or in order to be able to attract the interest of the group, just say anything, tell a story, just talk about something that you've just done. And then eventually all the little chatter in the room will start to dissipate and then focus in on you. And then when you realize you've got the attention of the room because you're being heard, then you can then launch into whatever it is the purpose of your gathering is going to be. Strategy number 4, demonstrate with a volunteer. Now, if you're like me, perhaps you work on your own more often than not, but there's many occasions where I do work with a co-facilitator. And it's just natural if you're about to demonstrate something that you would pull in your co-facilitator to demonstrate what it is that you plan to be doing. That just makes sense. Inherently, the group will accept that. But there's some real powerful benefits for inviting a volunteer, in particular from your group. And I guarantee you, always, when you ask for a volunteer, someone will always step forward. Now, it might take a few seconds before someone decides in their mind, oh, okay, no one else has stepped forward, I will do it. And importantly, that whatever you then do to demonstrate with that partner, that particular volunteer, that if that makes them look good, the next time you ask for a volunteer, more people are more willing to step forward. For me, it's a sure sign that you're winning with your group when people are willing to volunteer, because ordinarily the way I ask for a volunteer is that I just simply say, hey, can I ask for a volunteer, someone who can help me show what the next activity looks like? Notice I didn't actually describe what it is they're going to be doing, so it takes some risk, which is why it's such a powerful strategy when you're working with a large group, because someone has now decided to put their hand up, take the risk, and now everyone is now engaged in what's about to happen. And it's true that you can never have too much engagement, no matter how big your group is going to be. Strategy number 5, always have more. You're already working with more people, a large group, so you're probably going to need more props and equipment. You're probably going to need more amplification of your voice, or perhaps a microphone. Or you're going to need more staff or co-facilitators, more time, often to be able to move people from one place to another. Plan for that. When you're working with a large group, always anticipate that you're going to need more. But probably the most important more that you can have in the guise of this particular strategy is more no props. How often have you pulled out the props and discovered you didn't have enough, or some of them are broken, or it's not quite the right thing? You can never have enough no prop style activities, because in that case, you've got enough for everybody. They never get broken, never get lost, never get left behind. Always plan on having more. Do you remember back at the second strategy, I talked about forming partners as one of my most powerful, most potent tools for when I'm working with groups, particularly large groups? Well, the larger the group, the more important this 6th strategy becomes. Create random pairs or random teams. What I mean by that is that when you invite people to go find a partner, more often than not, they'll just go find their best friend. And that's okay. We're all comfort-seeking machines. But if you can find a way for each person to go find someone new, maybe someone they don't even know very well, you can continue with your program. You would have generated a certain amount of energy as well. But most importantly, you would have provided an opportunity for interaction and sharing to occur. And without those two foundations, then you can't build trust. So if you're in the business of actually building connections, then that 6th strategy in a large group context can be really, really powerful. And here are 2 strategies you can use. First of all, check out playmeo.com. Getting into pairs will give you dozens of different ways of finding people to discover someone random to join a partnership with. Also, if you happen to have a large group and you're forming just smaller teams of 2 or more people, then go to getting into teams. Again, lots and lots of different ways, randomizing the ability for small groups to gather beyond picking 2 captains and then creating these really uneven teams. Now, before we go, I've got 2 questions for you. Question number 1, which one of these 6 strategies for working with a large group resonated the most with you? Add it in the comments below. I'd love to know, but also share that resonance with our collective community of facilitators around the world. Or even better still, hit the like button below, because that will also generate some interest for my team to understand which of these strategies was the most important to do. And we'll bring out more content related to that as well. And question number 2 refers to you. What is your favorite strategy for managing a large group of people? You know, the premise is that you typically work with smaller groups, but you have to do something a little bit different to be successful with a really large group of people. What's your strategy? Again, drop it in the comments below. I would love to be able to learn from you as well. Naturally, we're also learning from each other the more comments that we add. If you haven't already, do us a favor and hit the like button below. And if you really like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe to our channel button. And if you hit the bell notification, in case you're not aware, that will mean that each time we drop some new content, YouTube will send you a note to let you know. Oh, and be sure, very soon, there's going to be a couple of videos coming up that'll give you a clue about what you should watch next. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Have fun out there.